So I would like to fully acknowledge that this lighting is terrible. I'm too afraid to film this inside of my house because the walls are so thin, and this is like a thing that I'm keeping to myself for now, and I just really don't feel like being questioned on it. So for right now, I am in my car in some random ass neighborhood. I hope that no one calls the police, because I don't belong here. Like, straight up, I have no clue. Like, I just drove until I found like a fairly secluded neighborhood, and so here I am. But anyways, so I just wanted to talk about why I dropped my sorority, because I keep getting recommended like all these sorority recruitment videos, and I thought I'd just take the time to talk about my experience in a sorority, just because I've like seen some videos of girls being really upset about like not getting the houses that they wanted, or you know, girls that are like, I mean, I'm not here to sway anyone, and honestly at this point most sorority recruitment is over, so great timing on my part. But I just want to talk about why I'm not in a sorority anymore, and why that was probably one of the best decisions of my life. So I rushed as a sophomore, and I mainly rushed because my freshman year all I did was hang out with my friends from high school, and we like started to drift. We were not good friends anymore, and things just weren't working out. So what ended up happening was that I felt myself like I was like, I don't have any friends. And so I was like, I'm gonna be really, really lonely my sophomore year if I don't do something to like make friends. And so I decided, wow, I just look so bad. Oh my god, I'm so ugly. Whatever. Anyways, so I decided that I needed to do something that would like get me out of my comfort zone, something that would kind of allow me to like make friends, force me out of my shell, I guess. And so very obviously sorority recruitment was what I decided to do. And I'm gonna skip all the rushing and all that information. If you want me to talk about that, sure, I'll talk about it, but I don't think it's really relevant to this, to the story that I'm trying to tell. And man, this is just really bad lighting. So anyways, I rushed my sophomore year. I was super duper excited. Everyone seemed so welcoming at first, and it just genuinely like, it just felt so like, it was like such a fulfilling feeling. Like, oh my god, I'm in this house with like, I think my house had like 180 girls, so almost 200 new people who hand selected me, and you just feel so unique. You're like, oh my god, they picked me, they wanted me. And especially if you get like a good sorority, which I'm not, like, I don't want to talk too much about like the tier system and whatever, but if you get like a good sorority, like, you feel like you are like a fucking diamond. You're like, wow, they wanted me. And so yeah, it's just very exciting, and it's an awesome experience. Well, it was an awesome experience at first, but some issues that I had was, one, it was super duper cliquey. So our pledge class, and I got told that this was just our pledge class, which really sucks, because I would have loved to be in a sorority that had like a great sisterhood, and I don't know, like, I wish I would have gotten what I was promised throughout the entire process, and that didn't happen. But I mean, obviously at this point it's whatever. But our pledge class was really cliquey. Like, people formed these groups really fast, and they would rarely talk to people outside of their groups, and it can be very isolating, because I realized that a lot of the girls in my pledge class, and just in the sorority in general, knew each other beforehand. And I'm also gonna turn my car off because I don't want to waste gas, because my gas light is on. But yeah, so it wasn't like, oh my god, these are all new people, all of us like didn't know each other. A lot of people had already known each other. Like, I remember going through some people's Facebooks and seeing like a group of them that like all went to the same high school, all graduated in the same class and everything. So things got really cliquey really fast, and it felt kind of like hard to meet people. It got kind of hard to like make friends and talk to people. So that was something that was really difficult, but I still, managed to make friends. And I was actually talking about this last night with one of my friends that also was in the sorority with me, but we both at this point have left. But like, the thing is, I can't take away the fact that I met like, genuinely some people that are my best friends, like people that I want to be in my life. I want them to be at or in my wedding. Like, that didn't help at all. Oh, there we go. Hi. But I met people that I want to be friends with for a really long time. I met people that I want to be in my life, and I can never take that away from my sorority. I will always thank them for introducing me to those people, even though it's only like 2, maybe 3 of them. And all the people that I am really good friends with, they all dropped. So, I don't know, some kind of common link. But yeah, so the sorority was super cliquey. Second of all, beyond it being cliquey, sorry, I swear to God, I thought I just witnessed a car accident and someone drove off and I thought it was like a hit and run. And that was mainly my issue my sophomore year. So, once my junior year rolled around, I had signed up to live in the house because they make it seem like that is the end-all, be-all of being in a sorority. If you don't live in the house, you are not getting the full experience, like, yada yada yada, all this stuff. So I had signed up to live in the house, and I ended up only living in the house for 1 semester. So I was in my sorority from all of my sophomore year and half of my junior year. And living in the house was a whole nother can of worms. The first couple of weeks, we were all just so excited to live in the house. We were also excited to, like, talk to each other and be around each other, like, all the time. And I thought, oh my God, this is great. Like, I'm gonna get to know people better. I'm gonna become better friends with people. Like, it's gonna get so much better. It really didn't. It got a lot worse, actually, and living in the house is what pushed me to drop, because I'll explain later. So basically, this is where the shit show starts to come in. So first of all, one of the people that is my good friends in the sorority, while I'm not gonna talk in depth about what exactly happened, but she was very obviously having, like, a hard time in her life. She was having a rough patch, and I definitely would say, like, maybe struggling with, like, some mental health issues along with other issues. And a sorority, a sisterhood, is supposed to be like a support system, right? Like, those are supposed to be your people that are, like, there for you. And even though, like, maybe, like, some of her actions while we were in the sorority weren't necessarily appropriate or the best or the healthiest, I would think as a sorority, like, you would want to come together and, like, be like, hey, we can see one of our, like, sisters is going through a rough patch right now. Why don't we just sit her down and let her know that we're here for her? And, like, that makes sense, right? That's what, like, good friends do. Like, if I see my friend is, like, acting out, or, like, if I see that she's going through, like, a rough patch, I'm not gonna, like, judge her and criticize her. Like, you want to be there for that person. You want to, like, genuinely help them through whatever they need help getting through, you know? And they just didn't do that, like, at all. I, like, literally witnessed people, like, just pretend, like, when they were talking to her that they didn't even, like, see her. Like, I literally witnessed it, and I was just so disgusted, because I'm like, she's a fucking person. Like, how could you ever treat I don't know, but just the way that they decided to treat her, to me, was just beyond disgusting. And not every single person in the sorority was like this, obviously. But I did witness some, like, really catty behavior that I just thought was incredibly petty and rude to me. And then the second thing was, okay, so I won't put this whole thing on the sorority, but this is, like, a long fucking story that I'm about to summarize in, like, hopefully, like, a minute or less. But basically, one of my good friends at the time in the sorority thought that I was talking to a guy that she was gonna bring to our little date party. She ended up not. Like, I don't know, I told her that he was being sleazy because he matched with me on Tinder, like, all this other stuff. And basically, at a mutual friend's, like, party in December, she, like, hit me. She physically assaulted me over this boy that neither of us were talking to, because she thought I was talking to him. Like, that is, like, the most cliche sorority girl thing I've ever heard. Like, oh my God, she fucking hit me over a guy. Like, can you fucking believe that? And she was gonna be on e-board. And obviously, this was, like, a whole fiasco. I told them I'm not living in the house next semester. I wasn't even gonna drop. I was not even gonna drop the sorority. All I wanted was to not live in the house. That's the only thing I requested throughout this whole thing. And unfortunately, they're like, there's no way we can get you out of your contract. You cannot live here, but you're still going to have to pay for it. And even before all of that happened, I was already looking for someone to sublease in the house. Because I just wasn't happy there. I just felt like I couldn't be my full self. I can be a very raunchy, kind of rough around the edges kind of person. And I just felt like anytime, like, we would all eat our dinner, we'd have like lunch and dinner together, and every time we'd all be eating, I would feel like I had nothing to say, nothing to contribute, and like I didn't want to. And I found myself being like this very like fake person. Like, I didn't think that I was putting on a persona at first, but then I totally was. And I just realized that like I couldn't do it. Like, I just realized like this is not for me. I can't do this. So that was another thing. But yeah, the girl physically assaulted me. I told them that I just didn't want to live in the house anymore. I just wanted to just be able to leave, because I was already looking for a new lease, and I got a new lease for the next semester. But basically December of last semester, not last semester. Okay, there's the car backing out of their driveway. But basically, I just requested that I didn't have to live in the house anymore, and they basically couldn't do that. The only way that they could let me out of my contract was if I dropped, so I very obviously chose to do that. And the thing about all of this is that they had just elected me to be sisterhood chair, so when your sisterhood chair drops a sorority, like, you know you have a fucking problem, and there's another person backing out of this driveway. Yikes! I hate this, I hate this, I hate this, I hate this. Oh my god, I hate this. Anyways, I'm really nervous right now. Like, I'm afraid they're gonna look at me and be like, what the fuck are you doing? But yeah, so basically I had to drop to get out of my contract. And I genuinely feel like I was telling my friend this last night. I was like, I want a shirt that literally has irrelevant written on it. Like, in bold print. Irrelevant, because that's how I felt when I dropped the sorority. Because it just felt like there were like 2 people that approached me, because like we had like this group me message. I mean, we had like group me together and whatever, and we would use that like to talk to everyone in one big group. And there was some argument going on, and basically I like sent this long message saying like, I'm dropping, it just isn't for me anymore. Oh fuck, I just said the name of the sorority. I'm gonna have to bleep that out. Fuck. Basically, I was like, this house just isn't for me anymore. I can't personally do this. And I left all the group chats. Like, I did not want to give anyone the satisfaction of kicking me out of any of those group chats. So I just went ahead and like bounced myself on out. And I asked one of my friends, I was like, okay, well, I left that message, like, did anyone say anything? And she was like, no. No one said anything. No one cared. Nobody fucking cared that I dropped. Like, and 2 people approached me after, like, I had dropped and I was, like, moving all my stuff out and everything. And they were like, I'll miss you and stuff. And there's only, like, literally, like, 1 or 2 girls outside of that are still in the sorority that, like, I remember talking to, like, within the past few months. So yeah, so I just wanted to hop on here and talk about my experience in the sorority. It was not all it was cracked up to be, don't get me wrong. Like, I will always be thankful that I did rush, because I would not have the friends that I do today had I not rushed my sorority, because a lot of my friends that I know today, I know through a friend that I met in my sorority, and these people are my roommates now, some of my best friends, people who I want to be in my wedding, at my wedding, people who I like literally like have decided our kids are gonna be friends. Like, they don't have a fucking choice, like, they will be friends. Like, so I will always be thankful for that. But other than that, it just felt like it was time for me to go when I dropped, and I feel like I wasn't going to grow anymore as a person. I felt like I was getting worse as a person, actually, because I started caring about things like likes on Instagram and how many people are viewing my story. Like, I started caring about that shit, and I was like, this is just so not me. And the only reason I cared was because I think other people cared. And truly, who you hang around start to become the people that you hang around. If you are hanging around people who are kind of shallow, you might find yourself being kind of shallow. If you find yourself around people who are like very lazy, you might find yourself being very lazy. I'm not saying that all the girls in my sorority were shallow or lazy or anything. I'm just using that as an example. But I just think it's important, like, if you are in a sorority, if you just rushed a sorority, if you are rushing a sorority, maybe for spring rush, or I don't know if some schools are doing like rush now, but I think it's kind of late. Just make sure these are the people that you want to hang around, and if not, do not be afraid to drop. I think I was well past due for dropping. Had I not signed up to live in the house, I think I would have just dropped after my first year, because all of my good friends had like left and dropped. So just don't be afraid. If you feel like you don't fit in, if these aren't your people, that's okay. Don't feel obligated to stick around and, you know, maybe see if it gets better, but like, bottom line is you're paying for this, and if you are not getting your money's worth out of this experience, then it's time to leave. Go find something else. Go join a club. Go join an academic fraternity. I also met a lot of friends through my academic fraternity, and I honestly enjoyed that a lot more than being in a sorority. That's all I have to say. There's some guy that I think is gonna notice that I'm sitting in my car talking to myself, so I'm just gonna go. Adios.